Thank you, Fran. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to you all. My thoughts and prayers go out to Sherry, who's been recovering from a terrible accident that has taken a toll for much too long. And she's about to become a bionic woman. We can rebuild her. We have the technology. We can make her better, faster, stronger. You know, those were the words in 1973 from the show The Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman. And based on what you would have thought, we all would have replacement parts by now. Anyhow, she is scheduled for knee replacement surgery. And I know she'll have a fantastic recovery. And we're all there for you, my dear. Look out, Terry. Look out, kids. She always was a force. And now she will be like her not-so-old self again, because she will be better, faster, stronger. And greetings go to my dear friend Jackie. It is always a pleasure to speak to you, to see you, to find out what is happening in your life. And it seems to be wedding season. At least wedding accoutrement shopping season. Finalizing venues, flowers, food, bands, photos, shopping for the officiant. And I have seen some great couples lately who will all have beautiful ceremonies. And friends, what I've noticed more and more is because of the hugely shifting dynamic of today. The largest population percentages in just about every religious group belongs now to the interfaith and unaffiliated members of those societies. Almost 50% of people now marry outside the faith they grew up in. They do not want to have to convert, and they do not want to belong to an establishment institution that barely recognizes them. Perhaps all of our religious institutions should take note of the growing political and sociological rebellion against the establishment and should embrace this new community of like-spirited believers. There is no room for differences. Break down those barriers of divisiveness. Come together. Drop the dogma. Now, in some strange ways, I'm reminded of the play by Peter Weiss in the early 60s, which was made into a fantastic musical film in 1967, the best version of the songs of which were sung by Judy Collins, and disappeared until recent events brought them back to life. And it was about characters during the French Revolution. Marat were poor, and the poor stay poor. Marat don't make us wait anymore. We want our rights. We don't care how. We want a revolution now. Friends, people seem to want a revolution. You say you want a revolution? Well, you know, we all want to change the world. Let us hope it is a peaceful, loving one. That was the revolution of this book we've been reading. A peaceful transition for people to follow their faith. Well, this week, what we are reading is usually the second half of last week's Parsha. But in leap years, like I said, they're read separately. Friends, this is the last reading from Exodus, which means the least attractive book of the Torah is coming, the book of Leviticus, the book devoted to priestly rules and regulations. And what it lacks in stories, it more than makes up in boring laws. But we will explore it in new, different, and dynamic ways. But first we have Pekudei, accounting, the Parsha that begins with an audit. Exodus 38:21. These are the reckonings of the tabernacle of the covenant. How exciting. The tabernacle of the covenant. We all saw the covenant take place. And it goes on to explain how that fantastic overabundance of gifts we have read about was used in the production of all the great tabernacle loot. None of which, do not forget, has existed mostly since First Temple times, and the rest not since Second Temple times. So not for an awfully long time. Also, do not forget, the ransom was paid by 603,550 people. And at 20 weights of silver, or whatever it was, that was a lot. And with inflation, wow, that would be huge. So why are we so focused on the trappings of life? Richer tapestry, larger sanctuary, more ornate crown, bigger house, a fancier car. It would seem that we as a species have not progressed much where our egos are concerned. And all of those things are measures of ego. And therefore what we deem as measures of our worth. I don't think that Neanderthal man was as worried about moving to a better cave as the Flintstones would have us believe. After all, we simply projected back in time our own personalities to imagine how their life would be, and we did the same thing with projecting forward to imagine the life of the Jetsons. All these things that we've been reading about and are so focused on in terms of how they looked, and which we used simply as a false measure of our worship, are just things. Things that do not exist, that haven't existed for a long time. Friends, what's fantastic is this is one of those rare times when the events occurring are close in real time to when we read about them. And I find that really exciting. Exodus 41. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, on the day of the first month, on the first of the month, you shall set up the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and you shall put there the ark of the covenant, and screen the ark with the curtain. Well, we've been reading about this. And now, the first day of the month is, of course, the first of Abib, now Nisan, which because of the leap month that we're in is still a few weeks away. But we can pretend that God is telling us, finish what you're doing, because the designated day is imminent. The setup of all this great loot is now. And that takes you there, doesn't it? He'll take you up, he'll bring you down. He'll plant your feet back on the ground. He'll fly so high, he'll swoop so low. Legend of a Mind by the Moody Blues, but that was a different kind of trip. And it happened in the first month in the second year, on the first of the month, that the tabernacle was set up. Well, we now know a lot from that sentence, friends. We know when, we already know where, and we're witnesses to what is coming and how. The very first post-Exodus festival of unleavened bread, Passover, is but a full moon away, a couple of weeks. Now, don't focus on the list of things we just watched being constructed. The detail was such that we could see it, touch it, be a part of it if we want to, but we can't take any of that with us. What I want to focus on, and what I want you to take away from this, is what the Parsha ends on, the cloud and the glory. Those are the measure of God. Those are the real reminders. Those are divine. Those were part of the daily miracles that took place for 40 years. These are the things which allowed the wilderness generation not to believe, but to know that God existed. The other trappings are mortal, transient imitation, not like the cloud and the glory. As Simon Zealot saying, you'll get the power and the glory forever and ever and ever. Well, we actually first encountered the glory of God in Exodus 24:16, when the cloud descended on the mountain. But you see, the cloud and the glory are the same thing. And we're used to them by now. The cloud and fire that led them from the time they left Egypt. The cloud and fire of the wilderness, of the crossing of the Red Sea, of the tabernacle. This was the sign of God among the people. And the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses could not come into the tent of meeting, for the cloud abode upon it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud went up from over the tabernacle, the Israelites would journey onward in all their journeyings. And if the cloud did not go up, they would not journey onward until the day it went up. For the Lord's cloud was over the tabernacle by day, and fire by night was in it, before the eyes of all the house of Israel in all their journeyings. The Lord's glory, kavod, is clearly a palpably concrete manifestation of the deity for all the metaphysical attributes that later theology would attract to it. Now, it may have been imagined as a kind of mantle of light enveloping God, with the cloud giving off a luminosity by day, parallel to the fire by night. And the English word glory suggests a nimbus or halo, and is therefore a very appropriate translation. And you hear me criticizing a lot of the translations, but that's really a good one. This cloudy radiance is so daunting to behold that even Moses does not enter the tent until the cloud lifts. The Lord's cloud by day, fire by night was in it. And friends, these words actually hark back to the initial report of the pillar of cloud and fire in Exodus 13:21 that marked the very beginning of the wilderness narrative, leaving this whole large segment of text encompassed in bookends of the visible evidence of God's journey. And so we're left seeing that the concluding words of Exodus point forward not to the priestly regulation of the book of Leviticus, which immediately follows, but to the book of Numbers, with its tales of wilderness wanderings, near catastrophic defections and dangerous tensions between the leader and the led. You know, what can best be summed up in that great song by Steve Goodman and Shel Silverstein. What have you done for me lately? Such a common attitude. What have you done for me lately is how old friends show their gratitude. Not just when you need a little support. Their faces get long and their memories get short. What have you done for me lately? Lately, I've been doing without you. Now, if you're going to skip anything, my friends, go ahead and skip Leviticus. That's what most people do like to skip. You know, won't hurt my feelings. But make sure you come back for Numbers, right? Because you'll like Numbers again. And don't worry, because every week I will give you the highlights of the latest batch of laws. The world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of all of those that you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light, and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. Please do. Learn to forgive and learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. And remember, the journey is yours to enjoy, as are the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn to be, to love. So please do love. And share the light with all who live in the light and all who need the light. And remember to keep opening your hearts and watch for the glory of God. Bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air. Feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way. Next time you see a cloud, my friend, you are seeing the glory of God. And farewell, George Martin. Had you come some other day, then it might not have been like this. Alav Hashalom, may he rest in peace. The man who, much more than Brian Epstein, made the Beatles, the Beatles. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. Bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light and peace and healing and thanks, and send your goodwill to those who need it. Keep on dreaming, keep being, keep teaching, keep sharing, keep shining, keep spreading your holiness. And thank you all for joining me. It's always a pleasure. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.